here at Advanced Engineering, we're showcasing our Workspace product, which is a new product from Access Group. So what you've got here is basically the whole premise of Workspace is freeing you up and freedom to do more. So freeing you from a device, from having to work on a laptop, so you can take yourself away. You could be roaming, you could be a field-based salesperson, and you need to put hands on and get access to data or interact with systems that are traditionally office-based, on-premise systems. And that's what Workspace is all about, the freedom to work wherever you need to work, however you need to work. So what happens is we've got our mythical company, which is Freedom Industries here. When you log in, you have the ability to create multiple dashboards. So I've got dashboards here for my main section, that's what I use every day. Moving through shop floor, employees, HR, supplier info, all the rest of it. You can create new dashboards, and the user does this themselves, just clicking on the plus sign, create a new dashboard, let's say for expenses. So how we would do that is we would click our Workspace, we'll call it expenses. Okay, and we'll add that Workspace. That's now added me a tab ready to add whatever applications I want onto that tab. So if I now go to my add app, it's then a case of coming down here and saying, well, what do I want on there? So if I go to expense, I say, well, I want to see my expenses waiting to approve. I want to add my claims that are waiting to approve, pending claims, any submissions that I've got to approve as a submitter. And what it's doing in the background is loading those apps. So at the minute, I've got nothing there that I need to be done. But as people are submitting expenses, that will start to populate as well. So what we're doing here is, this is where I log in. What I want to see is key performance metrics and indicators about my business, no matter where I am. So what I'm seeing here is my work in progress stats, my key production stats. So here I've got a real-time OEE that's surfaced up to the web, and I've got sales order open and put. That way, with certain stats, I know the performance, I've got a health status, where I am, what my business is doing. Down here I've got a fire roll call building up over time, so if the worst was to happen and you needed to evacuate the building, you can do your fire roll call on a tablet or an iPad. A purchasing timeline, so this is just showing me what's going on with the business, and my demo, my top types of expenses. So I'm starting to see a collection of different types of metrics coming together on one dashboard. And if I want this production KPIs to appear down here, I just literally move it around. I want that to appear there. If I want my purchasing to appear over here, the user can self-service and create their own dashboards. Adding apps is easy. I just come up to the apps, and we will just readily release new apps as they're ready. I can go on here. Let's say that I've got a supply chain app, and let's say that I want to put my find customers on there, so I want to look up what customers I've got. I just hit to add Workspace, and you can see down on the right side now, that's added me a find customers tab. So there I can look down, and I can actually press the I button there and see a lot of financial data and metrics from my financial system in the web and what you surface up to the web. Now moving it forward here onto the shop floor, I can now see again those metrics, but what I'm seeing down at the bottom is a real good example and starting to embrace Industry 4 for the modern workplace. So for the modern manufacturer, the key thing is, well, what am I doing and where am I up to with what I'm doing? So we've got a production plan that's kind of interacting with our Orchestrate production scheduling. And then through shop floor data capture, now that would typically be through either Orchestrate or Factory Master or Supply Chain. That's then updating that plan, so I can see, well, you can see yesterday, we're at the 1st of November. Well, yesterday I've got jobs that are still outstanding that are either started or not yet started, and where they are. So I can start to, rather than go and look for that data, I can understand that data and use it effectively. If I just move through a couple of the tabs, inbuilt is a notice board, so almost like a version of an intranet, so you can put up announcements out there and hyperlink into other areas. Now that's great for employee communication, employee engagement, especially when you've got people out on the road, field-based salesperson needing to understand what's going on, cut the clutter with all of the emails, get it into a workspace, onto a notice board. Down here I can have a blog feed, so I can have blog and Twitter feeds as well. RSS feeds go into there, so you could have your BBC Sport, your BBC Football News. It could be traffic alerts for the M1. So if I'm in logistics, I want to know what the traffic status of the M1 is, because that's where my warehouse is located. I'm going to get a real-time feed into there. Now what's pretty cool is, on this customer and supplier app here, this is the exact same app that I showed you adding to the homepage. I've just added it in another place because that's how I want to work. And what I can say here is, I've got this aerospace customer here. I can click the I button and see all of the details about that customer. I've also then got a drop down here which shows me I can email or call that customer, and that's using standard integration tools. But what I can also do is hit route. And you'll see that the middle app, which is Find My Meeting Location, is currently putting us at the NEC in Birmingham because that's where we are. Now, if I send route there, what that's actually done is pass from one app to the other app. It's passed my route and locations of where I need to go. And it's route planned me from where I am now to where my meeting needs to happen as well. Over on the right hand side then, if I'm in the meeting with a customer and now I want to discuss a certain part code with a customer, I can start typing in there B- and it's looking up my certain stock codes to understand if I've got a certain part code that meets those criteria. To put my 500, so I've got my 500B part code, I know I've got 10 free and I've got sales orders for 10, so I've effectively got no physical stock of that part. So I can start to interact and understand what the status is without opening the core ERP application and going into that data as well. That's the main dashboard area of Workspace, but what you can also do is it's got embedded applications within it as well. So for example, expenses. I can go to my expenses option here, and what I can actually do is I can start to put in new kinds of expenses. So where I've got train travel, it might be that I've gone to a meeting, I've got the M6 toll to get here today. I say the date, I say what kind of expense it is, so it could be hotel, it could be a Hilton. Okay, if I've got a receipt, I can upload that receipt into there. So I can go to my documents, upload. This also has a mobile app for iOS and Android, so you can take your receipts, you can do it on the go and it'll interact with here. I can say whether I have a receipt or not. So I've got a VAT receipt and the rate was £90 for the night. Okay, works out the VAT, whatever I need it to do, and I can save and upload that receipt. What would then happen is that expense, you'd build up your expenses through the week, the month, whatever your policy is. That expense you would tick to submit, they would be approved and they would be authorised and then posted into your financial application as well. So it removes any spreadsheets from the business, any process, anything where things could go outside of a certain policy, because policies can be enforced through this use of this application as well. Some expense management systems can be incredibly expensive on their own right. This is all pre-integrated and written into your Access applications as well. So on top of this, I think it's wise to go on to, well, what does Industry 4 and what does the modern manufacturer, the connected manufacturer look like in UK manufacturing at the minute? And at the mid-market, there's a lot of theories coming down from enterprise level, so about Internet of Things and connected devices, and cobots are an interesting trend as well. They're now filtering down into the mid-market. So one of the things we're looking at is how we can streamline that process from an NPD and a product design right the way through to delivery and end outsourcing of that product. And what we mean by that is there's a lot of time in mid-market manufacturing spent on rework, on re-engineering, because let's say we designed a product and in the noise it should have been red and we designed and built it and it actually got sent out as blue. Well, actually that would take a lot of rework. I've got to take that back from the customer. I've got the lack of future loyalty potentially. That customer doesn't think we've manufactured to the right spec. I need to upfront do a lot more work and a lot more input to get the output, which is the correct product, first time, every time, on time. And that's really where Industry 4 is pushing us. It's how do I connect what the customer wants and how the customer is interacting with my ability to service that customer, but how do I also connect the machines, the shop floor data, and the front to back end office people all together in one system so that they can really make the most of what they've got and become an efficient mid-market manufacturer in the UK.